Cody Step here. We hear all the time that real estate agents need more leads. And oftentimes, we're doing a really great job of building out the resources that can bring in those leads. But is your system designed to capture those leads and put them into the system correctly? Well, in this clip, you're going to see exactly how we've made it super easy to do inside of SAM. It's going to save you hours, and it might even be able to remove a couple subscriptions for you.
One of the integrations that we have done, if you go back into your initials in the upper right corner and you go to integrations, we have a new integration down here, actually two new ones. One is for Gamma. Whenever you go into Gamma, there basically it just needs an API key. You'd have to get a Gamma account. It does give use this try button, try Gamma. It'll open up the Gamma information, and this is some that I've done. I use Gamma. Whenever you set up a trial through us, you're given a I think it's 400 credits into your system, into your account whenever you set up a trial. And with that 400 credits, you can create different types of presentations of different types. Now you can just use it from this account itself, just from Gamma itself, or if you've got the API key, which so you go into the API keys section here and you say generate an API key, you give it a name. I just give it Sam. And then it's going to give you a big long string of characters, which is your API key. You take that API key and you put it back into the Gamma integration piece right here, and save that and say connect Gamma. What it does then is it sets up a connection between SAM and Gamma, so that you can do some really, really interesting things. We've added it so far into two different places. One of the places is in our generations area, where if you want to use one of our things to do some generations for content. This is something that Cody set up before I got involved, which was the ability to set up and use ChatGPT style stuff, but not have to understand prompt generation, prompt engineering, where you can go in there and say, well, I want to create something in my conversions section for a lead magnet or something. I can go into conversions. Maybe I want to create a lead magnet. Maybe it's a frequently asked questions type thing. You go in and you specify some information. So for me, maybe I'm doing something with downsizing and senior living. I became a senior this past year. Doesn't seem possible.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. What's your voice and stuff, and then you can come in here and you can specify the objective of this lead magnet piece. So you can come in here and say, well, I want to create something that has this type of stuff. And I won't go through the entire process, but it takes you step by step through creating some content. I've already got some saved, and I'm just going to go through that. So whenever you come in now, if you have a Gamma API key in there, it now has the ability to say, well, you can create Gamma items on on one of the generations that's been done. So let me just go into this one, just as a for instance. So this is a downsizing senior living piece. I'm just going to load this up. So through the generation piece, it created a frequently asked question guide. Is all it did. And it just created the text for it. Well, now we've got this button here for send to Gamma. If you have a Gamma API key in your settings in there, this button will show. If you don't, then it won't show. But whenever you click on that, it will open up and it will give you a place where you can put in, it'll take this data and it will use that data to do a presentation. You just kind of scroll down to the bottom. You can tell it how many pages you want that presentation to be, what language do you want to be in, and yes, we have Spanish in there for you. The type of format that you'd want it in, whether it's a presentation or a document or a social media post of some sort. And then you say generate presentation. It will then send all this data and stuff to Gamma, and Gamma will build it out for you, which is really, really cool. Now, if you also have a Manus API key, Manus is another integration that we added. And what Manus does is similar to ChatGPT, where you can give it a prompt, but what it does is it does deep research. So I might say something like, well, navigating the cost of senior living. Actually, no, we go into Manus in here, and I give it the objective. I say, give me all the senior living locations and their average cost in Bolivar, Missouri. So you put in the objective of what you want it to research for you, and then it goes out and it will hit all the different websites in that area. It researches, and it may take 5, 10, 15 minutes to get, depending on what you want. It will go through and it'll create content for you from whatever you specified, but it's doing deep research elements. So it's finding all kinds of stuff. And if you've included that, you can include some additional instructions to send to Gamma, and it'll take all that data plus all your data and build out some really cool content. What does it build out? Well, down here at the bottom, once it does generate, and it, again, I won't go through it because it does take some time, but it'll generate this new area here for Gamma presentations. And you can do it multiple times. So in this case, I've done it 3 or 4 times, 4 times for things. But I can come here and it does 2 things. It creates basically a presentation for a web presentation. So it'll have a URL for it, but it will also download a PDF version of it as well. So I can come here and I can click on download this PDF, and it will show you all the things that it did. Now, I just told it on this one, just give me a 1-pager for senior living in Bolivar, Missouri. What's the average cost and stuff like that. So it kind of breaks it out and shows some stuff. But it just made a pretty looking. Now, I chose the theme. There's all kinds of themes and stuff in there, but you can choose a theme and put it in there. I just did a 1-pager on that one. For another one that I did, let me see here. Open. This one is I think this is a 12-pager, but it creates this. I mean, the images, the content that was generated from Sam is used to generate this stuff. So within just a matter of minutes, it has created this entire presentation that you can turn around and use as a PDF, as an attachment to your content. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do to use this. Once it creates it, then it puts it into the area here to show you what you've created. And then you also have the ability to say, well, add this PDF file to my document library. So then you can use it as your attachments inside of your emails that get sent. But each one of these that have the little G on here are things that Gamma has been created to do things for it. So here's like a first-time homebuyer piece. If I look at the PDF on it, your ultimate guide to first-time homebuyer. This was content generated from Sam, but then turn around and put into a Gamma presentation. How great is that? Now, once you have it, you can go back into your Gamma account and say, if you want a different theme, they've got all kinds of different themes that you can pick and choose from. You can specify which theme you prefer and use it all the time as your default, or if you want to change them up each time, you can do that. inside of Gamma, you can do all the changing and stuff that you want. And then whenever it generates it the next time, it does that piece for you. So Gamma is amazing. I love it, especially for creating content that you want to look good. You don't want to have to spend lots of time building out the material for it. This is like the cream of the crop in my.
I was able to connect this. I already got the Gamma account and already set up the IT and everything. For now, it's Rebecca's turn to do all the creativity stuff.
Very good, very good.
We were able to do the when we have a listing and use the Gamma to do the presentation.
Exactly. So that's the second part of this, is while you can do all of this great stuff in here, you now have the ability to also do it from within your properties area. So let's say, for instance, here, memory lane. I've done a few of these in memory lane. This one, if I go to my photo manager, I've got several different photos and stuff here. This photo information in any of the photos and the details. Now, I do want to give a little caveat to this. Gamma is still growing. They are amazing, but I have seen a few quirks at times. I am sending to them all of this, the photo, the URLs to the photos and the information about each photo to Gamma, and it should use it. It should. A couple times I've noticed that it didn't. So just be cautious of that whenever it's generating content. But so it uses the property information pieces. But if you go into your listing area, and once you have a listing, so you've put in like, the MLS number, the sales price, you put in that type of information. Maybe you've put in some of your marketing information, your listing description, all that kind of stuff in there. You make sure that your listing information is well filled out. Number one. Once you do that, you can then come in here to send to Gamma. Again, if you have a Gamma API, this will show up. If you don't have it in there, it won't show up. You click on this, and now it'll pop in and it'll allow you to set up. Right now, there's two different things you can set up: a listing presentation piece or a Power CMA piece. Similarly, you can specify how many how many pages do you want this to be? What language do you want it in? Do you want it to use the images from the listing and other images from the web, or do you just want it to generate stuff from other places? You can certainly do that as well. What style that you want it in, presentation or document or social media. The text mode on this, I defaulted to generate. So it will take the content that we've created and it will use it as a base, but it'll create better stuff. They have some really good AI that creates some really good content, but make sure that it says what you want. If you do use that, you can use preserve text, and it'll keep the exact wording of what you've typed in and incorporate it into the system. So you can use whatever you want there. You can add additional things, just things that you want included. You can do that. We also, once again, included that Manus research. So what you might do is come in here and say, include any property. Well, if you're doing a CMA, it's going to do it for you automatically. If you want to include other things like give me information about the neighborhood on this address, or food establishments in this general facility or vicinity, all the different things that you might want to include as extra stuff that aren't necessarily in the listing information, but somebody that's getting that listing information would really like to have. Manus can do that research for you, include it, and then it would then include it as part of the content that's being sent to Gamma. And then whenever you hit generate, then it'll go through the process of generating that listing presentation. And what it ultimately does is two different things. It will take the generated information and throw it into the files area. So you've got that PDF file. So if I go to this one, here's one where it created the information with the photos and, some basic information. I just told it to do a 2-pager. Actually, this is just 1-pager on that one. If I go to this one, here's one. So this one was 12 pages. So it took the photos from that property. It created some highlights. It created some stunning interior stuff, but it's using the photo and the description of that photo that I created. And then it's massaging it, making it look good and stuff. It takes the content. So, how good would this be to give to your customer, right? As you're doing the presentation, for something, this is what I've done in the past for houses, similar to yours. The other thing that it does is in our external documents piece right here, it will go ahead and create the Gamma link to it as well. So you'll be able to bring it back up inside of Gamma and be able to do any kind of massaging to it as well. So you can change it. You can, if you want to change the theme, you want to change the order of the items, you can do all kinds of stuff in here and then generate a new PDF from this. So you can do it both ways.
At the end of the day, speed and personalization are going to be what wins the game and moves the needle forward, driving leads into customers into past clients, and engaging and nurturing that relationship with your past clients. If you're ready to try for yourself, visit sam.workflowsecrets.info and click sign up. I'll give you 14 days of free access, and you can start building out all of these pieces and seeing exactly how Sam can move the needle for your business. It all starts by visiting sam.workflowsecrets.info and clicking sign up. I can't wait to see you in there.